After Arsenal thrashed Chelsea, there was a lot of players that have been brilliant in that game and brilliant all season, but one of the clear players is Ben White, who yet again was outstanding throughout the game. But why has he been so good this season for Arsenal, and why has he proven to everyone he is the starting player guaranteed for the future? Well, let's get into it. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, that I think Ben White has probably been the best right back in the Premier League for the last 4 to 5 months and probably been one of Arsenal's, if not Arsenal's best player. I think consistently he has been performing. But against Chelsea, I think to me he was the best player on the pitch, and I think yet again it was an outstanding performance. He is clearly becoming a player that we can trust and rely on, and I think in the last few months he has really shown that. Now, before the season progressed, there was a lot of worries about his injury record because he was playing through a knock, and the fact that he wasn't necessarily getting as much forward as you wanted last year. And at parts this season, I'd say he's been more of a facilitator for Saka and Odegaard down his right side, just overlapping and being a player that can bring players away from them so they can do the end product in the end. But with the adaptation of Rice playing as an 8 on that left side and Havertz going up front, it gave us a little bit more balance. And now with Thomas Partey against Chelsea, you really got to see this balance fully, where Ben White could go up on the right side and get support from other players. And first of all, the major key part about Ben White is that he is so calm in defence. There's many times where we move into a back three, where obviously he was the one that was in the back three rather than inverting, and it switched different times per game. At the start of the game, it was mostly Tomiyasu who was inverting in the middle to give us more support so we could go up the left side, but when that switched, he was brilliant tactical awareness to go into the middle and also help the players around him. He was also very good at pressing up the pitch when we needed him to, and often marking his winger Mudryk very much. Mudryk would come inside to cover him or cover other players, and Ben White would often follow him and be very comfortable. And this is something that our defence has got good at, being very comfortable at switching over from each other and always following their men, making sure they don't lose them, which makes us a brilliant defensive structure. And because I think he's probably one of the best passers in the Arsenal team, he is so elite at doing it that the teams don't really want to press him. He is very much a nervous player because people know that they can go past them, and when he picks up the ball, often Chelsea didn't press him and waited for what to see what he was going to do. This allowed Arsenal to have space and time where Havertz even could come deeper, or Saka or Odegaard, where Ben White could get help, and at no point did you think he was really going to lose the ball, and he didn't all game in that position. Now, with the added pressure of Ben White getting the ball a lot more often than you would see in certain other positions, if he was playing centre back or deeper, he wouldn't have got this. There's definitely going to be more expectation. There's more expectation of him to create things, especially when Arsenal have the ball, and he definitely didn't suffer that in this game against Chelsea. There was many times where he was picking up the ball from deep and trying to put the ball through, and just 30 seconds into the game, he put a brilliant through ball to Havertz, who nearly went one-on-one. And when you can combine this with the intensity that he shows in pressing, which he has all season, he is a very good presser, and that's why we usually get the pressing side to go down our right side. Saka and Ben White are very good at keeping with their men and making sure there's no one on them, and in the first half there was many times where Partey would get the ball in the middle to Gallagher, but if Gallagher and Mudryk switched when they tried to get the ball to Gallagher a bit deeper, Ben White would always follow him even deeply into the Chelsea half, and this made him win the ball back a few times and put through balls into Kai Havertz, who had shots, and we created chances from them. And this is his attacking presence when we don't have the ball, but when we do have the ball, he's obviously making overlapping runs with Saka and Odegaard and making sure he can stay as wide as possible at many times to make sure it's harder for them to get the ball off him. He's also got an easy progression pass down to the right side. He always just opens his body up and will pass it easily into Saka, and it often will create chances down that side. And there was a 20-minute spell in the second half against Chelsea where Saka was constantly getting 1v1s against Cucurella, which basically allowed for our 4th and 5th goal to happen because they pass it back into positions where Havertz can score or Odegaard can create. And this is proven in his attacking stats, which he had after the game. He made 2 out of 2 shots, which obviously we'll get onto, but he had 80 touches and 5 in the opposition box, obviously one of them being the goals. But in the end, he made 12 passes into the final third. He was ever present in that attacking third and really did create a lot of chances back there. He is so vital going forward, and he is no longer a facilitator for Odegaard, Saka or Havertz. I know this is not the only game where he has scored goals, but he often doesn't score goals consistently, but he's been so good at helping our attack with pre-assists and assists overall happening, getting our players in behind a lot more. And if anything, he makes the players around him a lot better because he gives them the space when they need it to, and he's not too tight to players whenever. And you've got to give him credit for the 2 goals that he ended up scoring. I think the first goal was a great creative corner tactic that we came again, where we overloaded just outside the box to get the shot away, and as the shot is coming, you can see that Ben White moves out of the way on purpose. This then distracts the people that were supposed to be on him. I think it was Cucurella who can't get towards him, and Gallagher sticks out a leg, and Saliba, as you can see, is keeping everyone on side because he is just pushing Enzo back, holding each other so no one's even moving him that whole time. This gives Ben White the space in between the lines, and he does a really good finish on his weaker foot, putting it into the corner. And his second goal is another move where he doesn't even go forward for this one. This one you got Tomiyasu inverting, and he's more centrally, and Ben White isn't really involved in the play. We have a lot of players up there with Rice also in the box, but he makes that late run, which is very crucial in this scenario. Saka ends up getting a 1v1 against Cucurella, and he passes it back to Odegaard, and this is such a fluid motion where Odegaard passes the ball over and Ben White keeps his run onside, making that run brilliantly. And realistically, he should just put the ball in for the centre for a tap in for Havertz or Trossard, but in the end he makes a mistake and it goes into the top corner. But you still got to represent that run was brilliant, and I really respect how he comes forward late in this scenario. And you've always got to respect that he always adds something to the game. He always gives something different, and I think he offers a different outlet going forward down that right side, because he's better than any of the left backs we've played this season in that attacking final third. Because he is so fast, he's also very good defensively. He makes a lot of recoveries per game, and against Chelsea he made 7 with 4 defensive actions and was only dribbled past once while making 1 interception and 1 block. He was 100% on his tackles and is very assured when he does anything. And of course there's that whole winding up with him, and he does wind up other players and he loves having it, which is really good for the mentality side, but he also physically is a monster, trying to win the tackles at all times, and he's definitely not a liability in the right side considering he always played centre back before. And because he does give it out and can take it as well, this also makes him very good at winning duels. In this game he won 7 duels and lost 3, but he won 4 out of his 5 ground duels. In the air he isn't the tallest, so you can understandably lose a few of them, but on the ground he's so physical and he doesn't lose any, and this gives Arsenal much bigger edge on that side, and that's why we prominently go down that right side with the creative freedom of Odegaard, Saka and White going forward. And ultimately Arsenal getting that deal done to sign his new contract just a few months ago was such a key part of this team. He is a massive part of everything Arsenal have achieved and will achieve with this team, and he has honestly become one of the best and most important players in this squad, just from outside of it and from inside perspective as well. And although obviously the raw talent is there, Mikel Arteta deserves a lot of credit for making the player that he is, and so does all the managers that have helped on his development. He started out as a centre back and then a defensive midfielder he's played as, and now he has played as an inverted right back, an attacking full back and a solid right back 1v1 defender as well. He can almost do every single role you put him out there for, and I think that's why he is so vital to everything that Arsenal do, and he has been this season considering he's had to cover and have to play through injuries, consistently never letting Arsenal down. There was a few months where he wasn't at the best because he had knocks and weren't playing amazing, but now you can't argue with it. He is really vital and important to this team. Let me know what you think about Ben White's performance in this game, and let me know what you think about his performances this season, or at least in the last 4 to 5 months. If you like this video, please go and watch my video earlier where I talk about Havertz and why he is so important to the team as well, and how he's been so good in centre forward. And if not, I would like to see you in one of my next videos. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it.